crew are always involved in mooring operations. All mooring operations on ships are high-risk operations. Pre-planning of mooring operations is recommended and a risk assessment of the operation should be completed, especially in cases where the ship is having to use an unusual or non-standard mooring arrangement. Careful thought should be given to the layout of moorings, so that leads are those most suited without creating sharp angles, and ropes and wires are not fed through the same leads or bollards. There are a shipload of hazards during mooring. There are mechanical hazards from the mooring winches and the ship's engine. There are energy hazards causing lines and mooring equipment to be subjected to tension and forces. And there are manual handling, and slip and fall hazards. Personnel should not, in any circumstances, stand in a bight of rope or wire. The operation of winches should preferably be undertaken by competent personnel, to ensure that excessive loads do not arise on moorings. Rollers and fairleads should turn smoothly and a visual check be made that corrosion has not weakened them. Particular attention is drawn to the need to ensure that pedestal roller fairleads, lead bollards, mooring bits, etc. are properly designed to meet all foreseeable operational loads and conditions, correctly sited, and effectively secured to a part of the ship structure which is suitably strengthened. When moorings are under strain, all personnel in the vicinity should remain in positions of safety, avoiding all snapback zones. It is strongly recommended that a bird's-eye view of the mooring deck arrangement is produced. An aerial view from a high point of the ship can be utilized to more readily identify danger areas. Immediate action should be taken to reduce the load should any part of the system appear to be under excessive strain. Care is needed so that ropes or wires will not jam when they come under strain, so that if necessary they can quickly be slackened off. Where a mooring line is led around a pedestal roller fairlead, the snapback zone area will change and increase in area. Where possible, lines should not be led round pedestals except during the operation of mooring the ship. Thereafter lines should be made up on bits, clear of pedestals if at all possible. During mooring operations, a sufficient number of personnel should always be available at each end of the vessel to ensure a safe operation. A responsible officer should be in charge of each of the mooring parties, and a suitable means of communication between the responsible officers and the vessel's bridge team should be established. If this should involve use of portable radio, then the ship should be clearly identified by name to prevent misinterpretation. All personnel involved in such operations should wear suitable protective clothing. All equipment used in mooring operations should be regularly inspected for defects. Any defects found should be corrected as soon as possible. Particular attention should be paid to the risk of oil leaks from winches, and surfaces of fairleads, bollards, bits and drum ends should be clean and in good condition. Mooring ropes, wires, and stoppers that are to be used in the operation should be in good condition. Ropes should be frequently inspected for both external wear and wear between strands. Wires should be regularly treated with suitable lubricants and inspected for deterioration internally and broken strands externally. Check the underdeck foundations of the mooring equipment. A heaving line is a light thin rope, about 15 fathoms long. It may be a 6 mm or 8 mm diameter vegetable fiber rope or a nylon rope. One end of it is weighted by making a monkey fist or a heaving line knot on it, and the other end is just whipped. To prevent personal injury, the fist should be made only with rope and should not contain added weighting material. Fairleads are fitted around the bow and stern to lead mooring ropes to the shore. Different types of fairleads have different advantages and disadvantages. The mate should choose the best available type fairlead. Stoppers are lengths of rope or chain secured to bits to facilitate taking the mooring rope or wire from the drum and placing it on the bits. Stoppers are either single rope or West Country. A West Country stopper is a synthetic fiber rope, other than nylon, of about 25 mm diameter and 5 to 6 meters long. Both ends are whipped. It is used for stopping synthetic fiber hawsers. The stopper is folded in two equal halves and the bight put around the bits. The two parts of the stopper are crossed alternatively over and under the hawser a number of times. Finally, the two ends of the stopper are pulled away from the bitts. The single rope stopper is easier to make and use, but is less effective than the West Country stopper. Watchkeepers should become familiar with the mooring equipment on smaller vessels. Areas where mooring operations are to be undertaken should be clutter-free as far as possible. Decks should have anti-slip surfaces provided by fixed treads or anti-slip paint coating, and the whole working area should be adequately lit for operations undertaken during periods of darkness. Ropes and wires which are stowed on reels should not be used directly from stowage, but should be run off and flaked out on deck in a clear and safe manner, ensuring sufficient slack to cover all contingencies. If there is doubt of the amount required, then the complete reel should be run off. Where moorings are to be heaved on a drum end, one person should be stationed at the drum end, backed up by a second person backing and coiling down the slack. In most circumstances 3 turns on the drum end are sufficient to undertake a successful operation. After the ship is secured on the dock, the next job is to rig the gangway. After rigging the gangway, the next job is garbage disposal. All seafarers are made familiar with garbage management procedures, and any instructions will be included in induction for new crew. No garbage is to be disposed of at sea, if the vessel does not go further than 12 nautical miles from the nearest land. There are bins on board for recyclable items and general waste. The bins are clearly labeled. The bins are to be lined with bin liners, or garbage bags, for ease of disposal and to ensure that liquids are contained. The bins are to be securely fastened to ensure that they do not move or open and release while at sea. Food waste that is likely to decompose, such as meat, shrimp, etc., is to be double bagged and frozen ready to be disposed of at shore garbage facilities. Bins are to be securely fastened to ensure that they do not move, or open, and release while at sea. Depending on the size and weight of the garbage, bins will either be wheeled or carried off the vessel, ensuring bin liner is replaced as soon as empty bin is returned to the vessel. Food waste will be disposed of daily. All garbage will be disposed of using shore-based facilities. Bins will be on wheels so that garbage can be wheeled off the vessel at port. Where there are only small amounts of garbage to be collected, bags will be tied up and carried off the vessel. In situations where shore-based facilities are not available, adequate on-board storage space will be allocated to ensure that garbage may be appropriately managed until suitable shore-based facilities are available. Entries are made in the garbage record book when garbage is discharged. The entry should include the date and time of discharge, the port, the categories of garbage discharged, the estimated amount discharged for each category in cubic meters, and the signature of the officer on watch.